Okay. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
welcome to Traumedy. This is
here we are.
here we are coming to you almost live from Homer, Alaska. My guest this week, I have been hearing the most incredible stories of my life. I want to tell you. This is a storyteller, a writer, a nurse, a pilot, a mountain man, and much, much more. Welcome, Mike McCann, everybody. Mike McCann. I'm going to clap because I'm excited.
I'm gonna clap because I'm here.
Yeah, you're
I'm
alive.
glad to be here.
Dude, you are on borrowed time in so
Yeah.
many ways. We've been talking this morning for a couple of hours. And I just keep saying, I feel like I wish I had been recording all morning, but
Hit
you,
replay. Hit replay.
one of the things I just, as a launching place, is to say it was something that, with traumedy in mind, that your mom used to say that. Would you mind sharing that out of the gate?
Oh, she would sing two songs to me at night. How can I miss you if you don't go away? And hit the road, Jack. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, no, her saying was, cry till you laugh and laugh till you cry, because the rest is just filler.
Wow. And you took that to heart, man.
It took a while to soak in because I thought she was just a little crazy, laughing and when things would get really bad. But we lived in the projects, and she said, I learned how to laugh.
Dude, I mean, the stories you've been telling me, I don't know where to start. Where do we start? Like, you write these short stories and you've written books.
I should have drank more and got into the Bible, but I didn't. And so I did other things. And I love stories. As kids, we would sit at the end of the row, and the stories were unbelievable. I mean, I'm talking 7, 8 years old. These 9, 10-year-old kids, they talk about taking camp counselors hostage and stealing Cadillacs, and I'm like, damn. So one night I came home and I'm like, Mom, I hope someday I have a story. And she goes, oh, you'll have a story. So when I had my first story, I think we stole a tugboat or we did something crazy. I was like, I can't tell everybody, but you got to hear the story. So anyway, it's been going on ever since. And stories are powerful. And hearing stories is. So be able to share them and pass them on. There's nothing like a good story. And that's what's been keeping us going for millions of years is passing on the stories,
Yeah.
whether it's about dinosaurs or roadblocks or. I mean, there's nothing like a good story.
And you identify as Irish. Is that true? Are you an
Now I
Irish?
do. I thought I was French. I thought I was French Canadian because we'd stay up there with them dark people, dark hair, and there was dark. And my Irish relatives were all a little fair down on Long Island. And so when I went to Ireland and my relatives were darker than I was in Ireland, I went, whoa. And then they gave me an Irish passport. So now I'm Irish. I
Oh,
like the French Canadian part, but I'm Irish.
is that the black, so they call that Black Irish? Is that what
Yeah,
they call it?
actually, the Spanish ships crashed up on the coast, and there were 17 of them, and that's where the rhythm came. Enya and her gang were all Black Irish. That whole coast is
Oh,
dark, and the music and the humor and the rhythm, because the Vikings didn't have a lot of rhythm, and the Celts they had rhythm, but nothing like the Spanish.
yeah, yeah.
So
And you,
that's my theory.
gosh, I mean, so I'm here doing the Alaska World Arts Festival, and there you were at this thing. I didn't know who you were. I mean, I'm just
I'm
like,
still trying to figure that.
but I mean, I'm so honored that
Yeah.
you were at a show that I was doing, and then I'm like, holy cow! After the show, you're telling some of these stories, and there's a million of them, and you've traveled internationally. You said didn't you work with Enya or something like that?
Enya was just a little girl when we met her. Her dad was a buddy of mine, so that was cool. But you were funny. I mean, I thrive. That's medicine. We didn't get serious professional comedians in Homer very often. I risked my life. I don't know if you noticed, but my plane wasn't running too good, and I went through the mountains and got beat up, and then I came down the coast, and I go, I got to get to the show. And luckily, you were a day later than I thought, so I had a little reprieve, and I could rest up and take it in. Because keeping up with you is not easy. And you're all over the place. So it was great. It was good. It was yeah.
And you're on a show called, what is it, Yukon Man or
That was years ago. We were on Yukon, man. Me and Stanley. Stanley's a buddy of mine. He's from Dorchester, and I'm from Long Island, and we go way back. I mean, he's a character. Watch Yukon Man with Stanley. I'm
okay.
only on a few episodes, but we have a good time. I was just there last week with him. We have a good time.
This is so wild to me. Did I mention that you're a nurse? Did I even mention that? Like you're a Yukon man and a
I'm
nurse
sensitive
and a
man.
poet. Yeah, you are
Yeah,
a
I'm,
sensitive.
I'm over. Definition of a true Alaskan: over diversified and totally unemployable. So that's me. I do this that day and the next, whatever. But that's why we're here. This is the end of the gangplank. No, Alaska. If you're ADD, you need to come to Alaska.
That I,
No, you
you
can
know,
do everything.
yeah, I was thinking that this does feel like I don't know, and it's again, I know this does not compute exactly, but I had a crazy Uncle George who
Oh
lived
yeah,
on Isla Morada Key, and it sort of reminds me of these black sheep that go to the
right.
ends of the
Fringe
earth.
dwellers.
What did you call
Fringe dwellers. We're on the fringe. No, really.
range
The
dwellers?
end of the gangplank. Fringe. We're on the fringe.
Fringe.
Fringe dwellers. No, that's
Fringe
just
dwellers.
yeah. No, it's great.
You have
Everybody.
such a great turn of phrase on these things. Fringe dwellers.
Fringe dwellers. Yep. Yep.
Could you just tell me the places you've lived? Because I was like, wait, you grew up in the projects, then somehow you're out taking peyote on the plains in
It's hard to
amongst.
hit a moving target. That's my theory. Because I used to get hit a lot, so I started moving when I was young. I was born in Jersey, and we moved to New England with the Pilgrims. It was a little quiet up there. And so we moved back to Brooklyn because we were on our way to Alaska with my mom. My dad was building a nuclear reactor, and he forgot to send the tickets because he liked quiet, and he must have found. Anyway, he stayed up here. We were in the projects. And so then,
So he left your family, is
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. He was gone for many years. Um, but I always said he liked the quiet, because he ended up in Antarctica or whatever. But it was good because we ended up in the Spinney Hill projects, which is golden. When I look back, it's golden. Um, but from there, I always say, I go to Beirut to relax. I mean, got a little rough, at times, but not real bad. When the guns showed up and the craziness in the late '60s, then it was like rough. But so I hitchhiked out west. I heard about California, and I didn't know it was that far. It's a long ways.
Yeah.
I thought you crossed the Hudson and the Delaware, and then Chicago's here, and then California. It was a week later, and I'm driving to Bonneville at 15, can't see, but going 150 or 115, and I pull into Beverly Hills, and that was cool.
So
I was looking
you,
for the Beverly Hillbillies though, because I've been watching them.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway.
get the fancy pot passers.
Oh yeah, no, I was looking for what's her name? Ellie Mae.
Yeah, yeah,
Ellie
yeah.
Mae, yeah.
What's her
The big
name?
lamp. You know Ellie. You know Ellie.
You know who we're talking about.
The double barrel over the shoulder boulder holder. No, that was Ellie. She invented that. But anyway,
I'm like, do you like this framing? There you go.
yeah, yeah.
Now that's better, isn't it?
I've been
Look,
framed many times, but this
we
was
we
the
set
best.
up a nice background that you can't see. We blurred it, so it's a
Yeah,
mystery.
no,
It's a nun
my
costume.
outfits. Yeah,
Your outfits.
multiple
Well, you're
personalities.
well, I think so. There's a listen. I maybe I shouldn't have blurred the background, but there is a nun costume back there, and you have to know this guy. This guy had some
Issues.
issue. Well, some nun
Yeah, and it wasn't just boys' life. I sign up for issues. There's some fun ones.
in this lifetime,
Oh
didn't
yeah,
you?
no,
No, but the way that you roll with it, you're like, yeah, yeah. And you said, I don't like the word molested, but
yeah.
I mean, nuns were touching your
Well, that
private.
was young ones. They weren't really nuns yet. They were practicing, and then they'd break off once in a while. They were frisky nuns. Those French nuns. No, the French nuns are frisky. No. Ave Maria, she used to teach me, Ave Maria, gee, it's good to see you. I learned Latin on a different angle with the nuns. But what it was we'd go up there because my great aunt, my grandmother's sister had a convent, and there were all these French nuns down from Quebec because that was BC before cables or condoms or something. Anyway, they had all these kids, and they send the girls to Scranton, to New London. Anyway, I have fond memories of getting fondled. No, but it was
But see, this is traumedy. This is
this
just
is trauma.
you
Yeah, yeah,
don't
but I
you
didn't know. I'm like,
yeah.
what's going on here? But
And then I love what you told me earlier too, that you like, okay, I went back at 12 and I'm like,
no, I'm
where
like, oh wow,
where are they
I
now?
didn't understand that game before, but I'm catching up. No,
But I like how you have this nun costume and you said you did some prank nuns on the run or
oh
something.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
thought, that's perfectly way of like kind of reframing it, reclaiming your power, like become the nun,
yeah. No, we had great nuns. We had Sisters of No Mercy and Unlimited Guilt and Ammunition and Persecution. And looking back, they cared. Some of them cared a little too much, but and I'm still in touch. I've had some of the nuns I work with in Peru. I mean, we have so much fond memories because they dedicate their life. And when you meet a nun that really walks her talk,
Yeah. The
they
real nuns.
no, they're unbelievable. Sister Theodora, Sister Ancilla, they're unbelievable. And
So there are good nuns and
oh
then
man,
there are
now
some
there's some nuns that are a little confused, like everybody else. Um, but you got to be grateful for the good ones and the bad ones, not the bad ones, the rough ones. They're still. We talk about getting beat. way back. Not really bad, but I mean, some of them go rough you. When they twist your ears different directions, that gets uncomfortable. And and they smack you. One of them could take out a pigeon with a geography book at 30 yards. That's a tough nun. Anyway, she's still alive.
Is it,
Sorry, Daniel Merrick.
I feel like
But
the word nunchuck is in there
they were
somewhere.
nunchuckers. Yeah, yeah. But I'm like, Gary, duck. And he ducks and it takes out James Conley and he's laying there. And she right away, well, the good Lord must have directed that. No guilt at all. Boom. Anyway, but that's our life.
Yeah.
Then we go to public school where you can mouth off, threaten your teachers, do all this shit, bring guns to school. We were lucky.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a little bit, I mean, there was a little pain going on. And so, I had defect in
Appropriate touching, but other
yeah, a
than
little
that,
bit, smacking. That's another form of love, And the brothers, they were a little. I mean, we do the best we can.
if I were to find like what is the name of you have more than one book?
Yeah, one's
How do
called
you
"Give Me the Hudson or the Yukon" because I love the Hudson River because we could steal all kinds of shit and go up the river and look at, and then the Yukon where there's nothing, it's just peace. I didn't know there was ever a river still like that.
yeah.
They drugged me to West Point to play lacrosse. I looked up, my mother's like, "Well, what do you think?" I go, "I ain't coming here. This is like Catholic school. They're all marching around doing this." I seen that river and I was like, "I'll jump in that river. I'll be home tomorrow. You leave me here. That ain't happening."
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't want to march around in a uniform. I didn't make a good Boy Scout. I sure in hell ain't going to make a good, whatever you call them, cadets or. But anyway,
Good for
no,
you.
rivers. Rivers are it because if you really study rivers, whether it's Yellowstone, they're everywhere. And if you really get into them, they keep the planet. The rivers are the planet. And so the Amazon, all these amazing rivers, you get in them, it's free. You get in a slideshow, you didn't have to. I go down to Yellowstone, I go down these rivers as a kid.
I do love floating a river.
Yeah, no, rivers are
I don't need
unbelievable.
the rapids as much, but
No,
I love
that roughs you up, and get you
I don't
focused.
need that much adrenaline.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, I don't.
No,
You
rivers,
do.
if you
You do.
study rivers,
Yeah, you do some really
I'm
high risk
scared to
stuff.
death. No, I'm scared to death. But
But they show you. They show you.
yeah,
Is
but
that what you're
rivers, if you
saying?
really compare it to our system, the Yukon is an amazing. The history's amazing. The Hudson's amazing. The Hudson River, the Connecticut River, the Yellowstone, the Missouri, the Mississippi. If you really, there's river nuts. I mean, I met them
Yeah.
in Futulifu, in Zambezi, or whatever, Zambia. These people, that's all they do. And I go, I guess I'm one of them because I just love rivers. Plus I'm cheap. So if you go upriver, you got to paddle and you got to pay for gas. If you go downriver, you just grab a log and you go down.
Yeah.
And if you're not worried about the future, you don't know how you're going to get back. But the Yukon, I still to this day, I was just there a week ago. The Yukon is so powerful. There's so much library, and it's just this movie. If you stay on shore, the people come to you, they go by. It's alive.
Yeah.
It's so alive. And if you look at my buddy Stanley, Charlie, Alex, it was 50 years ago. We were all up there just winging it.
Yeah.
Stanley, the main character, Charlie Campbell. It saved us. I really believe it saved us from something, I don't know what, but it saved me and I still go back to it. I have a little camp with Irish flag and people come and stay and you get one
So
airplane a day.
I don't know the geography that well. So you're on the Yukon River, but it's called the Yukon. And can you help me understand?
Yeah.
I could look at it.
Yukon River
I'll
comes
show a
from
map.
Yukon, Canada.
Okay.
It's 2,000 miles long.
Okay.
People say Yukon. That's the Yukon territories.
Yeah.
That's where the river starts. But it goes all the way down to the Bering Sea. And it was big during the gold rush. There were no roads here, so everybody came down the Yukon
It
River.
was the way of getting
Everybody,
around.
hundreds of thousands in '98, and then all these people lived there. The villagers from way back, the Athabascans, the Inuit, the da da da. No, it's powerful. It's just powerful. But it's so, nature is healing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you can get out there, I don't care where it is. I used to hide in the parks, or the estates in New York. I hide even in the street drains. I thought that was natural. Things flowing down, rats running around. That's nature. But it's healing.
Yeah.
Very rarely
And
will nature
you
kill
get,
you.
wow, interesting.
Yeah,
So
it may, but yeah, it will take care of you. I mean, when you find out that the fish are coming this way and you can eat these beautiful, and then the logs are coming that way, you can build your house, and the moose are coming this way, like the best I ever lived. I'm eating caviar, right? My chickens were eating caviar. And I'm like, I didn't even know what caviar was. I was like, you can't beat this. And all my buddies came up, high school teachers, everybody. And I felt so lucky to share that with them because it was so, so it was just,
they're just drawn to what you were
well,
doing.
the fish and the being together and then all the characters. Characters attract characters, right?
Yes.
And joy is contagious.
Yeah.
Right? When you get around a bunch of joyful characters, you may you may think, I'm in the Sound of Music, and you may be,
That just gave me kind of
oh yeah,
goosebumps.
yeah, no, it
Joyful
does.
characters. And I interrupted your process earlier, and I just want to go back to it because my ADHD takes off.
Yeah,
But you were going to show me kind of your places you've lived, and then we
yeah.
can, I mean, we can immerse in
Well,
all
we
of
can
them.
go to
But I don't know. I was just curious because I was like, how did you get? So you drove out to California.
hitchhike. No,
You
hitchhike. I drove
hitchhiked.
this guy's Bonneville, but
Oh,
no,
you were driving
made it
his
there.
car. That's
Yeah,
what you said. You
yeah.
hitchhiked,
Yeah.
and then you were how old were you when that?
15.
So
Yeah,
15. You
man.
left.
In my neighborhood, that was old. If you lived to 15, you were an old man. No,
Dude,
no.
some of the stories you told me about running home,
Oh, no.
people chasing you, you fighting, and you're also a boxer.
Well,
I mean, you're
not
just
by choice. They volunteered me.
so,
No, no. Anyway, it's good stories.
so
And
yeah. But I don't know. Is that do you not? I just was really quickly like. Then we can. I
no,
would
I'll
love to
give you,
drop
okay,
in
let
on
me
any
give you
of
the,
those. Okay, here it is.
Rand McNally's acid version of, okay. Hitchhiked to California, find out it's a little different than I expected, but it was cool. And then came back through Montana, heading to Alaska, but I had to get back to school. My mother was freaking out. You're in Washington, that's 2 hours. I go, no, Mom, look on the map. Washington's, 3,000 miles. Get your ass back here. Anyway, so I headed home because I had to go back to school. But I wanted to come to Alaska because I heard about it and it seemed cool. But anyway, I've been coming through Montana and people were so great picking me up and all this stuff. And I was working for food at Yellowstone, cutting wood. Anyway, came back through Canada, went up with the French Canadians for a little while. That was interesting because I didn't know what they were saying, but they seemed happy. And so that was good. Then I stopped to see my grandmother, and this is all within like 10 days' time, right? But I find this raccoon that got run over on the highway outside of Massachusetts. And as a kid, we couldn't have animals, so I really was like, oh man. And I'd read that book, Rascal, with the raccoon, which is golden. So I thought, oh, raccoon. But anyway, he was kind of banged up, but I got him going again, and then we hitchhiked into New York with the raccoon. And so the raccoon and me show up, and it was crazy. But the raccoon, he really gave me some focus, and I could take care of him. He's had an eye on a string and a broken hip, and so there holds Danny stories in my book. But I had a thing for raccoons because they're little thieves. They got little hands like an old guy. They'll pick your locks. They'll do stuff, and they're just tripped, and to have one, my own Danny, even though he'd bite my friends and shit, but he was good to me. Anyway, Danny, people still mention Danny in New York. I didn't think it was that big a deal. Rascal was, and John Sterling wrote the book about Rascal. I'm thinking everybody needs a raccoon pet, right?
And you named him Danny.
Danny boy. And, oh, something like, yeah. But anyway, Danny's got famous, and then I let him go on a big estate. And he only had one eye, so you could see him at night pretty easy. We know the feeling.
Yeah, you and I both.
We go,
We have eye issues.
yeah,
I don't know.
right. We keep
Mike.
an eye on the guy in the back there. See him? I'm watching him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's what you do when you're a trauma survivor. You
yeah,
gotta
you
you
gotta
gotta
make
keep
them.
an eye out for people.
Exactly. No, and bear spray helps too. I got a little bear spray here in case I don't see him in time. But anyway, no, so the traveling thing, you get the bug. And once you realize, I come back to New York, I'm going to finish school. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, and education is important. You know, I started doing like focused, because I'd already been out west. I'd been to Beverly Hills. Nobody's going to tell me none. I've been to Colorado up there, rented a horse, rode around like the Lone Ranger or somebody. But anyway, I'm like, wow, this is a big country. There's a lot. You could live in a cave. You don't have to go to Wall Street and make all this money and marry some beauty queen. You don't have to do this crap. No, but it was like a secret I had. And I tell my buddies, no, you can go in caves out there in Colorado. You can ride a horse for $1 an hour. I mean, I was like, wow, this is a big world. So nobody was going to tell me different at
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
which was a gift. My mother, she was so worried. She was so crazy because, and she'd pray all the time and light candles. But she said, you just came back different. I said, Mom, I had no choice. But anyway,
So you had a rite of it was like your what is that? The rite of
the
passage.
division,
Yeah.
the natives send their kids on
Did you
division.
do peyote when you
Not then. No, I wish I had. No, no, I didn't do much. I did a little booze, but not really. No, I was excited. I got that.
you were just
When you look back and you see New York skyline and there ain't nothing, it's like, wow, man, it's exciting. And the characters, what you realize when you hitchhike is people want to tell you their story.
yeah.
And if they don't know you and they're never going to see you again, they tell you some stuff, man. I
Yeah.
mean, they open up and I'm like, I'm 15 years old. I ain't no psychiatrist. I don't know who you should marry, but they want to tell you.
Yeah, they want to
Oh,
they want to
yeah.
process
Oh,
it.
no. I got picked up by some beauty queen in Colorado. So she was on some calendar or something. And I'm like, wow. And I'm thinking, is this? And she's telling me her problems. I'm like, you don't look like you have no problems. But anyway, it was fun because I remember I tried my best to write my book about hitchhiking around the
Yes.
U.S. from a 15-year-old perspective, but I would cover up on a lot of things where I didn't want to say too much. And so now I'm opening up again about some of the crazy stuff. And but it was the 60s. There was so much going on. I was into Banger Canyon, and I wasn't into the weed. I like shit that speeds you up, And
Okay.
so I liked things that got you going. And so that was my thing. So,
But
anyway.
you're more high on life, it seems like to
Well, I
me.
was,
I
but
mean,
it's a
I
job,
don't want to be
I mean,
cliche
no, I
about it,
got
but
back home, and we had a big house. Everything was cool, man. My mom was the happiest she ever was. Andrew was living with us. David had just been killed in a stolen car. Then it all went to shit. My mother
that's your brother.
dies. My mother bleeds out. Andrew's killed in Vietnam. I mean, whoa, Mary Ellen's murdered. Florrie's murdered on the way to my mother's funeral. I'm like, whoa. It's like, man, if I hadn't had that background of like life is pretty, amazing. And if I was just stuck in that little, I think it would have been overwhelming, and I'd have probably drank myself to death because that's the only thing I knew at that place for pain, and it was so there. But I would, my cure was to go to the track and run 21 miles till I fell over. Because if I didn't do that, I knew I'd go after. My uncle wanted to put me in cuffs when my mother died because I was getting off this plane, and he said, "You're not going after the doctor. You're not going." And I was 19, and he said, "We got the cuffs. We're going to put you in cuffs. You got three sisters." It was rough. And so
I
I
don't know
was
what that means.
handcuffs to keep me from going after anybody. But he said, "You're not going. You got a mother to bury and three sisters." I went, "Whoa, I guess I got a job." Anyway,
Oh,
that
so
was
he was wanting to shackle you here. He wanted
no
to
at the
cut.
airport. He wanted me. He said, and he was great.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting it.
No, Uncle Tony was great. He just was worried about me because he knew my answer to everything was grab him,
Oh, I
and
got you.
shake him.
I got
And he's
you.
like, "You ain't going after the doctor. You're not going after Monsignor."
Oh, the people that
Yeah,
beats to
he was
death. I'm a
worried
little
about me.
slow on
Yeah,
this.
but
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't. He
Yeah.
didn't know I'd quit drinking like a year before. Because when I drink, I like to fight, or I like anything, action. So I was lucky. I was really. It's always this like almost off the edge, and then and then you find another path, or like I say, the angels show up. Now, who are the angels? In our neighborhood, when my mother died, the angels showed up. They brought food. They were worried. They were the poor people, the
Yeah.
Bucks, Joey Devereaux. These people took care of us. And you're like, wow, people you just, not the rich people, not the ones counting their golf clubs and shit. This was,
Yeah.
food. This was food,
This is like,
and
yeah.
food is pretty important. Don't
Yeah.
get me, yeah, the food thing is interesting, but then, I get to Montana. I go back to school. The raccoon got me into college, by the way. That's a great story. So
Danny got you into
Danny
college.
got me into college, and I was like, damn, you don't know who your angels are. No, what happened was,
So Danny saved you in a way.
oh no, yeah, big time. So you never know. If you see a raccoon banged up on the road, pick him up. He might get you into school. You never know. But the funniest part was people say, how'd that happen? I said, no. Everybody was like, wow, he's good with animals. He rescues the raccoons and, banged up. We had ducks drunk flying around my house because they were banged up. And Mom would give them a little whiskey. That was a cure for everything. Drunk duck in your house ain't pretty. Let me tell you, shitting all over, flying. Anyway, Canadian geese honking. I don't know why she thought we had to take care of them Canadian geese. But,
This is real.
oh, yeah, you can't make that shit up.
This is real.
No, man.
She would take
I'd
it.
bring him home and she'd go, just give him a little nip. She had an eyedropper and we had some cheap whiskey. And the poor duck would be there. And then he'd be like, fuck it. I got one wing. I'm good. I'm good. And all around the house. And then they shit while they're flying. That's a mess. But anyway,
But seriously, you rescued hurt animals. There's
well,
a
she
part of
was that
you.
way too. Mom would rescue
There's
stuff.
just a part. And
Well, there was a part.
it's like the whole culture was that way. Like
No, no, a lot of people ate them. If they could get my raccoon, they'd eat that raccoon, but they didn't get them. But we had a park, and it was a really neat park. But there were ducks and geese and stuff, and so it was for the rich kids to come over. Or the maids would bring the kids and walk 'em around this park. So we'd get banged up animals, and so it was my mother.
you
Oh,
just
she had a heart of gold. Yeah, yeah. But
well, and you had the same heart. You were like, I gotta take
he's
this.
curious. And plus, when people say, "Oh, he's good with that," then you kind of buy into the program. I guess I'm good with animals. But the animal thing, because you can't have animals in the projects, it's a big thing. My sister had a dog with three legs, one eye, and one ear, right? So they come home with tripod, and my mother's like, "Well, we're not supposed to have animals, but maybe half a dog's okay." Yeah,
Was
maybe a
she
half a
funny?
Oh, my mom was a killer. Yeah, but those old black gals got her going. They would come up with the craziest stuff. Read the story where we blow up this Kotex machine up in the nice neighborhood, and then we wear this shit all down the street, and the old lady's like, "That's cool. You look like Disney Channel." My mom was like, "What the hell?" I said, "Oh, Burton would go in the girls' room, blow them off the wall at the train station." I didn't do that because I'd go in the guys' room. blow those things up. But Burton liked them Kotex, big ones, the old it's the mini pads, like they're the big ones you could strap around, look like a veteran, look like a patriot. So anyway, so Danny, the problem with Danny the coon was after he got better and I let him go, it took a while. The teachers would use that, like, you need to go work with animals. I'm like, so Dr. Goddard, who was this neat old guy, he called, he said, where do you want to go to school? I said, well, I got rejected by all these state schools. I didn't have grades. I didn't take it serious. So he said, well, when you went out west, where would you go? I said, well, Montana was amazing, man. The Indians, all this stuff, mountains. Let me call. He calls out to Montana State. Yeah, yeah, I have this kid back here and he's really good with animals. So he calls this Dean Belding, who's in missions. And the dean's like, well, how's his grades? Well, he's so good. He has a raccoon. Yeah, but how's his grades? Anyway, Dr. Goddard was covering for me. Finally, the guy let me in. And it's all because of the raccoon, because Dr. Goddard said,
Just because you really walk the talk with it.
well, he was like, you need to go to Fish and Game. I didn't know, I didn't want to be a vet. You got to go to school too long and learn all this stuff. So I went to Fish and Wildlife, but, I didn't care how many kinds of ducks there were. There's puddle ducks and this duck. I said, but the neat thing was that first year was just, I thought I was going to Vietnam, so it was a joke. I'm going to school. I'd pay people to take my exams, $10 to do this because I wanted to look good on paper, but I couldn't freaking do geometry and chemistry. I mean, that wasn't me. My thing was, fight, fix, or whatever, but not study your chemistry tables. Who the hell? I didn't plan to live that long. I don't need all that shit.
Because
These people want to live forever.
You really thought you were going to Vietnam, and
I figured I'd go to Vietnam. That was
that
top of the list. And then I figured nobody I know lives past 25 around here, so what the hell? What do you think? I mean, you're not from that neighborhood. You're from this neighborhood.
yeah.
And we die young, Or if you really study it, it's there, like a lot of people are wore out. But I didn't give myself the privilege of, but those were gifts that were given to me. These teachers that stood by me, Dr. Goddard, Olga Jenkins, Naomi Smith, they believed in something. And I think the creativity, see, not the intelligence. No, this guy's a bonehead. He will do whatever it takes. If you need new tires, he'll get you new tires. Dr. Goddard used to say, we didn't pay for anything today. I go, Doc, I got good credit. I'd take him out for lunch or whatever, but I knew everybody, Money it wasn't mandatory. If you had good credit or you stuck up for somebody or stole some food for them.
Well, I like what you're saying, right? Like they saw in you not just, I mean, creativity, of course, and then, but I mean, just talking to you for whatever it was, your synapses fire so fast. You are able to access so much.
Well, this is a big hit. I got an Albert head. It's like a block. Yeah, no, there's stuff in the back. I don't even, haven't used it in years.
Yeah, save that for the last decade of your life, the occipital lobe. See what's back there. I don't know. Yeah, but it's amazing. So they saw this in you. They saw, like, look at this kid. He's bright. He's capable. He's creative. He's compassionate. Compassion. You have.
He likes to fight, but he'll, after he knocks you down, he'll help you up. I don't know.
You fight, but it sounded like too. You were telling me earlier that you fight for a reason. You protect your sister. You protect your mother. You know what I mean? Like. Or somebody else that's more marginalized. I'm imagining that you protect the vulnerable, right? So
you don't talk about triggers, and you go, wow, so I don't like the way this guy's treating this lady, And that was a real thing of mine because my dad was a bully bastard, but he was scared to come around, I mean, them young Polish kids let him know right away my mother was safe. So yeah, no, it comes down to a lot of those early things, that and you gotta, it doesn't come easy because you gotta, you gotta know what the hell you believe in, but then you gotta stick to it. It's easy to say, well, I believe in Rice Krispies, but really? Why are you eating granola then?
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, like, what are you?
Pretty cut and dried, yeah.
What are you? Yeah.
But you never know how you're going to react. Sometimes I've reacted where I'm like, wow. And that's that blink thing, which I love, which is at 2.5 seconds. This Gladwell book.
No, I don't know.
Oh man, Gladwell. No, this is the real deal.
Well, God, that's
blurry.
That's the thing with blurry stuff.
Oh, there you go.
I tricked it. Yeah.
It's kink, not blink, because you're backwards. Yeah, but he's
the power of thinking without thinking.
He is safe.
So it's like trusting the midbrain, or
no,
what is it?
His thing is you've already been conditioned. You'll go in on the other side and justify and magnify and all this shit. But the reality is you've already made a call. And in America, especially now in great white Western America, we're so programmed. You see somebody of a different color or whatever. Ooh, And I grew up with that where I would react because that's what you do. And then you'd apologize for it or justify it. And I'm like, no, I don't need to. I made the call. I
Yeah.
see this guy coming. I know who he is,
Okay.
But you
Trusting
also
your
got to be wrong. It's not even instant.
okay.
It's like the first sample he uses is that poor kid checking for his keys that gets shot 29 times in the Bronx, D'Elio or whatever. I call the cops that I know. I said, what the hell? They shouldn't have been in the neighborhood. These guys panicked. And that's what you get with a lot of these cops. They panic. They're not thinking and they
Yeah.
react.
Yeah.
And I react. I mean, you got to be careful, but blink is golden. Blink is gold. But it
Okay.
also helps you, you talk about that neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Well, you also got neuroconcrete in some sides, where you're just set,
Uh-huh.
even
Yeah,
though
yeah,
you
like my
threaten it.
eye. Like I've tried to reprogram my eye with the neuroplasticity and it's like not having it. So maybe some part of me knows it needs to be out
Yeah,
there.
no, it needs to
Let it
kind of
be.
that.
Leave it
It's to
alone.
me, if you're perfect, you don't want to be perfect. You got to have
Yeah.
something, You're like,
Oh, that's right. It's a
yeah,
nice target.
yeah,
Like, oh,
no,
it's
you
just
got up
a
there, I go, oh no, not another gorgeous comedian. Oh Jesus, what are we gonna have to listen to about anyway? No, but then you do the eye thing, and I'm like, oh no, we're good.
and you're a pilot and you're
I can't see, yeah.
because yeah, because didn't you say what you had to have your
Life
retinas?
is a bet. No. I told this kid, help me read the radio here. You can't see that. I go, is that 3.5 or 2.5? What's on the runway? You can't see that? I go, that's why you're there. Help me land the plane. Oh, I'm scared
Seeing eye
shitless up
dog. You
there.
have to fly with a seeing eye
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. No, I go
Seeing,
by feel
seeing eye
and noise.
pilot.
Park by
You're
ear.
yeah, part by sound. That's what. Yeah,
Oh, geez. Oh.
you're there. Get out.
Yeah. Now the eye thing is interesting. And yeah, and as a pilot, it's scary because I do finally I have good glasses and I can see. Now that's another gift. The whole flying thing. I get choked up so much flying by Mount McKinley going, how the hell? How the hell? I'm flying
Yeah.
all over the world, Africa, down in Argentina. I'm going, well, I just had a wish that I could get in a plane someday. I didn't mean to stay in the plane. I'm flying the coolest shit.
That's what you're saying. Watch what you pray for. You're
Watch it.
you're a manifester.
Yeah,
So
no, no. Oh,
you
be
put it out there,
careful.
it's gonna happen.
Oh, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
you can't imagine. I mean, right now, I mean, you're still what's going on like in your sight right now. You were saying earlier, I loved what you said because I was talking about my son in my basement at 21, and you were saying something like if the mouth is moving, you can't see. It was like trying to help him have a vision. Like he does have a vision, actually. He is going to study, to be an EMT, and he is doing that right now. But we'll see. So you're saying,
Drop him off at the fire station.
okay, and just
Today they're having a class.
yeah,
He'll love it. And don't talk about it at all. You know where the class is. You drop him off and he either stays or plays or it's gone.
yeah.
But that's
Stop
it.
talking about it. Do it. But what you were saying, but
It
this
takes
is
the power
this,
away. The Indians used to tell me all that talk is smoke.
yeah.
And it goes and it's good, but you lose the power.
I've noticed that in my life too. I'm like, I'm going to, but, and then it's like,
No,
have
everybody does.
I haven't written the memoir and I have some stories to tell.
Okay, I'm sure
And
you do.
but I'm just saying I haven't done it because I keep talking about it. So I got to start talking
It
about it.
makes you feel good, but the reality is it's smoke. And if you look at it like smoke and you go, I always compare, this is bad, but I said, it's like sex. You want to talk about it before or afterwards? It's real. It's theory, and then it's facts. Let's talk about the facts. And they're like, what was that? Oh, that was good. That's all you got to say. That was wild. Yeah. Oh, no, oh man, that was horrible.
Dude, I
It's that
like it.
basic. Yeah.
It's so funny because I've been even saying this on stage a lot. Like I love talking about sex because I'm not having any. It's as
Right, right.
close as I get.
This is just,
As
yeah.
close as I
Yeah,
get.
but here's what I tell. This is
Maybe
bad.
that's
Speaking about sex, and you can
okay.
edit this, but
No.
this woman's like laughing her ass off. I said, you realize that laughter is just a mini orgasm. And you've been like, for the last hour, you've been coming like the freaking second coming, like Christ, they ain't got nothing on you. And she's like, that's horrible. I go, is it that bad? You look like you're having fun. Relax, honey. Anyway, but it's true. No.
I do think that way too.
Sure it is, sure it
Yeah,
is.
it's a shared, and it's fun to have a shared orgasm, right?
We are both 50-50 on orgasm. What the hell? That's fair, right? Well, you didn't wait for me. I'm like, well, shit. I ain't got jumper cables with me. Sorry, honey. No. Anyway, no.
Well, and
There's some funny shit.
it's the blessing of I will say like I've told you earlier, I was not happy with the female body at first because of the patriarchy.
Yours or somebody else's?
Yeah, my own.
Oh,
I was just
I'm happy with the other ones.
when I was a kid, I wanted to be a boy because I was like the boys had,
I know, yeah.
they had the good toys and they could climb trees, and I wanted to be a boy. And then it's like you become a woman and you're like, oh, but I can have multiple orgasms.
You can
And
have,
you know what? Yeah, well, I don't, I can't.
no, but I mean,
I can't because
Yeah.
my body was
But I
like,
mean, you guys
No, I
designed for it.
I'm just saying A lot of women can, not me.
No.
I had
But you have
I
a
had
baby. You can,
miscarriages. I had
but as a
miscarriages.
mother, you can
Yeah,
have a baby.
but I just wanted to focus on the multiple orgasms because it's like, yeah, I make 78 cents on the dollar. You can keep your 22 cents.
Right.
I mean, you can't buy this kind of bliss.
No.
You have a refractory
But you
period.
do have to sit down to pee. That was the trade-off. When
There's
we were
always
kids,
trade-offs.
when God was handing them out, he goes, well, would you rather stand up and pee or have multiples? And the idiot that he was talking to said, oh, I want to pee out the window. And it's like, you fucking idiot. You just...
Thank you for your service. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, right.
You
There
know
you
what
go.
I mean? You came into this lifetime as a male, and you've stepped up, dude. And I thank you for all the on behalf of the females
Well, it's been a
that you
struggle.
have either protected or pleasured. You know what? Hey, thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm known as kind of, here's the thing, being raised by a woman, I always say, because my mother at night we'd sit there and we'd talk about dreams. You could have feelings, okay, and that was okay. And so with my dad, you couldn't have feelings. Oh, you're just selfish. So feelings were like, and
Yeah,
then I married a woman where you couldn't talk about feelings, and I was like, whoa, even some of these females are locked
yeah.
into
There are
this.
some definite walled
Yeah,
off
but
females
it's because of certain things. And
traumas.
so so you go, ooh.
Hmm.
So I sometimes I cuss. I go, man, Mom, let us at night we talk about our dreams. We're living in the projects, talking about living in the mountains in Idaho and Alaska with deer and stuff. And she loved talking these stories. But it happened. One day I woke up in Montana a couple of years ago. I go, Mom, this is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But she made it okay. But I've been accused. My ex told me one time, she goes, all you think about is your feelings, your feelings, your feelings. So I want to do this cartoon, and I shouldn't say I want to because I should have. A lot of families have feeling extinguishers in their house instead of
Yes.
fire extinguishers.
Yes.
So when
This
you
is
have a
very
feeling where like if I said, oh man, I'm so excited, you couldn't do that. Anything to do with feelings. And if you
same.
got alcohol involved, that's really good because that really controls things. If you got the alcoholic, the kids can't have feelings. And then they'll be demoted. They're not demoted, they're condemned.
Yeah.
So when I went, whoa, man, and I said, we got to talk about feelings. How do you feel? If I want to put her on a defense, not even defense, just shut her down and say, how do you feel about this? Don't mention feelings. So I realized it's not just us guys who are trained to not, be hard asses. You know, I can get choked up over shit, a story about my raccoon. I can
Yeah.
get choked up. That's a
Yeah.
gift that my mother gave me.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you'll see guys, I call them a weepathon. We all weep. And so it was about my son, and these guys were sitting there, and I said, man, they go, and they started, and all of a sudden I realized we're all weeping because we all got kids and we're all worried about our kids. And they knew my kid and they were like, that's not fair. And these guys that, yanked out of a tree by a grizzly bear, I'm like, it was okay. It was all okay. And by me
Because you're
cutting
talking.
loose, that made it okay. No, we can weep. Weeping feels good. If you don't weep, be careful. It's going to
Yes.
come out some other way.
That's it.
But this male female thing will wear you out because we trade roles. I mean, if we could do whatever. I mean, I think. I mean, I think you got to watch it, but you got to.
I appreciate what you're saying because you're not a you don't subscribe to gender roles.
No, that's why I have my prison outfit and my
Okay.
nun outfit just so I can.
Gotta get it for
Yeah,
you.
you get
I
to.
know because I blurred this background, but maybe I should have left it.
No, no.
Well, here's
That's,
the let's
yeah.
see if this will
Come into the miracle mode. The Sisters of No Mercy. I like that.
Sisters of No Mercy.
Unlimited guilt and ammunition. That's it.
And then
And this is where I should be. This is my full-time uniform. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
this is like
Yeah, I carry that with me.
now you're what was it, Uncle Anthony that wanted to put you in cuffs? What was it?
Oh, and Uncle Tony. Yeah.
Uncle Tony,
Uncle
okay.
Tony.
Hey, I'm not doing
Anyway,
this
that's
right.
good. Yeah,
I don't know. This stupid software. It's
right.
it's annoying. If I
That's okay.
let me see.
Hey,
But anyway,
so yeah,
all
so
right.
depending on the mood, if you want to fight or whatever,
Yeah.
or you want to I mean, you got to do it all. You know what I tell these kids? They'll say, I got a kid in Argentina. I'm kind of encouraging. He's like, well, I'm going to do it. I said, look, you're too smart. Go there, do it all.
Yeah.
Go to school. I mean, you could do so much. Go off and do that. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to promise anybody you're going to be an accountant or a ballet dancer.
Just
go
start.
do it.
Just start.
And then when your heart feels good and you say, I'm in the right place, you don't have to make sense of it. You
Yeah.
have to feel it. If you feel welcome or comfortable, you don't have to say, I go places where I'm supposed to be comfortable, but I'm not. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, how do you feel about this? Something's up.
I
And
love that.
nowadays
So
it's
you
really awkward. Not awkward. It's really real. Get away from anything that you're like, ooh, something's up here, because there's a lot of something up.
that's right. That's Shakti Gawain she wrote a book called Living in the Light. And the one thing that just sticks with me so much is choose that which makes your heart feel lighter. And I thought, man, whenever you're in a dilemma, you can just get bogged down in
Right.
that left hemisphere we were talking about, like
Oh, yeah.
analyzing pros and cons lists.
Right.
But man, trust your body knows. Like if you get excited in a way that's like not addictive excited, but almost like delight, like
Yeah,
an
yeah, joy.
expansive.
The power of
Yeah,
awe.
the power
AWE.
of awe. That's another book you told me
Man,
about.
oh,
I gotta
powerful,
read that.
powerful. Dasher, Dasher Keltner. Really
Okay.
good. And his YouTube
The,
talks are great.
okay, the
Now,
power of awe.
power of
Check it
awe.
out.
But you realize the minute you read it, you go, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I come by McKinley the other day flying, and I'm thinking, and it's rougher. I'm thinking the wings are going to come off. I'm like, but where? I mean, this is, and I'm in that state. Yesterday, we flew
You're
down
in,
from the Nilchik, and I was like, looking at the rivers, I go, I mean, what, I mean, it's just so powerful and it's so medicine. And then I have so many good people here in this town, mainly because I was a nurse at the hospital for 30 years, that I'm comfortable and I weave my way through the town to be with the people I'm comfortable
you're
with,
the healer, huh?
No, no, I'm trying to survive. No, I hope I make them laugh. I don't know why they laugh at my stupid stuff. That's the funny part, and that's the
You
mystery.
don't know why you're so funny?
No,
You're
because
so funny all the
but
time. Everything you say is funny.
it seems to be, but I'm thinking,
You just
no,
have
no, I
you
know
have a whimsy.
I got funny people, man, and when I call them, they know I'm desperate. When Richie the Italian tells me Italian jokes, Mike, I'm feeling sorry for you. You know why everybody's called Tony in New York? Because when they get on a boat in Naples, they got to sign to New York. That's how it happens. I'm like, oh, there you go. Now it makes sense. But and my oh God, my black friends from Philly and down south, they know they kill me, man. They kill me.
So
It's
you phone a friend when you're having a bad mental health day. You're like, I need somebody that can make me laugh because it must take a lot to make you laugh because you are
It
so
does.
funny.
No,
Yeah,
I'm yeah, but I'm no, I'm hard, man. You
yeah.
made me laugh, and it don't happen because I mean I'm no, I study
You're,
humor,
dude, I
I
love it.
watch it, and there's certain people that I'm like, wow. And writers, I read, Gary Paulson, W.P. Kinsella. I'm like, whoa, I hope I can do that. But I have people write to me and say,
You
you
are
made me
doing it.
cry.
You
I go, what? When you started that motor in the bedroom and it jumped around the house? I'm like, that's all it took. You need help,
That's in one of your short
Yeah,
stories.
yeah. And one guy, he says, my kid's in there dying. I'm like, what? He says, you got to
Yeah.
read this story.
And this
They're
is
so simple.
this is in the book
In
the
in
the
give me the
The
Hudson. I'll
Hudson.
get you a copy. I thought I had some here. They're all over there.
I'll go get
No, I
mine.
read them.
I'm
One
gonna get
day,
my
I'm
own
like, when
copy.
things were really bad a couple of years ago, I'm like, did I write that? Boy, I must have been in another. Anyway, no, it's all in fun. So, but backing up, the funniest
Yeah, I
part.
wanted to. Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
so I end up in Montana at school. It's okay, it's beautiful, that whole thing, but I'm missing my gang, when you grow up in a gang, that's your brothers and your sisters. So I'm like, oh, I'm so privileged. I'm out here in school. I go to these ranches. I mean, back then I was drinking, so I had a radio station. I caused a lot of trouble just because I was so bored. And so then they wanted to throw me out all the time. But anyway, I said, I'm gonna go see the world. This is for kids that like to think and read and go to the library and act smart. I don't have that problem. So I sell 25 calculus books back to the bookstore. I invented recycling because I used to get them from I bring them out around the back and sell them back to them, and they would buy them back, and I'd get money for a ticket. Plus, I was washing dishes, but um, but I invented recycling, and I never left the building, so I didn't steal them, but they thought I did, and so they threw me out of school eventually. But I got back in one more chance. But I get to Europe, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to India. I'm gonna go do all this because I already did the U.S. Now it's time for me to see the world. So I get over there, and I'm fucking starving. I'm selling my blood in Portugal. I'm forging rail passes. All these other kids got credit cards. I didn't know what a credit card was. So I'm really, after a couple months of trying to get by, it was tough. But I went to amazing places. I wanted to go live with the Laplanders in Lapland because they all dressed in weird clothes and lived in them little big cupcakes and take musk ox around. I go, that's cool. Anyway, I get up there. They're all drinking in the train station. So I hung out with them. And I'm like, oh, that didn't go too good. I'll head back to Spain with Franco and the gang. Anyway, it was all over the place. But then I go, remember how beautiful those Jewish girls were growing up? And they were just so frisky. I'm going to a kibbutz. So I worked my way down. But I'd stop in Portugal and sell a pint of blood for $60. That's a lot of money. Except one night I sold so much blood that I passed out in the movie theater watching Woody Allen in Portuguese do sleepers. And I remember 3 days of that. I was like, Jesus, I got to do something different. So anyway, I got over and I was in Italy and I was hitchhiking around, but I was sick. I'd really gotten sick, whatever.
You like depleted
I
yourself.
depleted. I sold all my blood, and I go, oh, this ain't good. But one time in Portugal, when I'm laying there, and this big nurse is there, and she's like squeezing me. There wasn't much blood left, but they're valuable to them. And so, she gave me some spinach and sent me down to the Woody Allen video. But I remember going, maybe I need an education, after a couple of months of starving. And I go, maybe I better go back to school. I jump on this train back to Bodø, Norway, because I like Norway and everybody's tall and beautiful and they don't say much. And Swedish, same thing. They don't talk much, but they look good. But I'm like, I get a letter. My mother's like, you've been suspended oh, she goes, I'm pen pals with Mr. Belding out in Montana. You've been suspended indefinitely. I'm like, oh no, I got the boot. I'm like, no, no, this can't be bad timing. So I get down there, fly to New York on my return. Look and sold that. Go to St. Patrick's Day parade, hitchhike to Montana. Monday morning, I'm in there with Dean Belding. And he's like, you're done. I go, Dean, you wouldn't believe it. You know, I was in Norway. I was selling my blood. That's okay. You go do whatever. He's a real tough Marine guy. Good guy, though.
Yeah.
No, you're done. I said, why? Why would you throw me out after all this? You sold 28 calculus books back to the bookstore last November. I said, Dean, that's my favorite subject. He's like, no, you're done. I made up some story about some guy. He said, no, just get out of here. I said, Dean, I promise you, one more chance, please. You won't hear about me, see me, nothing, man. I'm not drinking. I won't stir up any trouble.
You're
I
motivating
learned to
them.
read. I got glasses now. I can see the damn book. One more chance. Anyway, he calls me in months later. Something's going on here. Are you still paying people to take your test? I go, no. He says, look at this. How did you do this? It was after a quarter. I said, I learned to read and I quit drinking. And he goes, this is right up there with a miracle. I said, yeah, you bet it is. Anyway, I was on the dean's list for months after that.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Because you were motivated
and he gave me a chance.
and he gave you a chance, but also like you were like, hey, I got to be able to buy
I
food.
want to survive.
Yeah, you
Yeah. And by
really,
then, my mother was still alive. So after she died, then the rules changed. Then it was like, you got to figure out how to do whatever. But no, it was a gift. It's always, you got to look at the gifts. And a lot of times the gifts are rough,
yeah,
but when you
yeah,
when you
yeah.
survive it,
We talk about those
yeah,
post-traumatic gifts, man.
yeah.
But
And
I mean,
but
you have like, you're not risk averse. You know what I mean? You have stepped into a lot of adventures, quote, like you have
I
just,
have a low threshold for boredom, no, but that can be risky too,
yeah,
because you're riding freight trains or jumping around or it's a little coming from the projects was
yeah,
good because it was lively. And I know
yeah,
what lively can be. You're either music's on, something's going on, or
yeah,
you're making each other laugh or cry.
yeah,
Something's going on.
yeah, yeah.
It's when, and yeah, a little downtime's not bad. We all got a balance.
Yeah, so how do you do that when you're in, that's probably when you're writing. You go into the stillness to
Nature,
write
nature. If I hide out in the woods or go somewhere, people don't realize I spend a lot of time by myself.
and
And so,
you can land and ground.
so yeah, and I don't like the word pray, but I think it's a form of prayer. And I think when you get into being with the Plains Indians for a while, they helped me like all those rituals.
Yeah.
The pipe ritual is really heavy
Is that
duty.
the peyote or
No, that's the pipe with if you read Black Elk Speaks, and what it does is it seems it gets you it takes a while to get in that zone. But if you're praying with a bunch of old people and they keep bringing up really good things and thank you, you go into the zone and it's a comfortable place to be because it's a zone. It's the sacred. Once you enter the sacred, we're all distracted with all this stuff.
yeah,
And to get to the sacred, in New
yeah.
York, I go into St. Pat's and sit in the front aisle there and just as a kid, I went there and I go to churches. I've been in all these churches in Europe
And
and
you,
I light candles. I didn't, I was again averse to that for a long time, but I go, no. And the only thing I can compare that to when I took some peyote meetings in Lame Deer down in Montana, we'd go all night. We'd get up, have this meal, have this ritual of thanking everything in the four directions, the four colors of the food, and then we'd go to the Catholic Church at St. Labre Mission, and we'd sit in the front row, and there'd be a whole bunch of us because there'd be a few meetings, and nobody ever talked. And we'd be there, and I said to Marie Sanchez, "Why are we going to Catholic Church after all?" She goes, "The ritual, the power of the ritual, is sacred, and
mm,
when you're paying respects to Christ or whoever, that's powerful." And
hmm
so I went, wow. But the funniest part was the priest would get up there, Father Michel, and there was another one, and he'd condemn the peyote eaters, you know.
Oh,
And I know people have been up all night and man, this, you know, and he'd go on, and we'd be like, whoa, this is funny. But they didn't pay any attention. They just liked the ritual because you're paying respects. If you raise your hands and do, you know, there's all this, this has
yeah,
taken thousands of years.
yeah.
But the funniest part, 10 years later, I go down. I have a friend of mine, Angie, the Eskimo gal. We go to a peyote meeting in Montana, invited by old friends. Father Michel is sitting next to me, the priest that condemned it. So I go, Father, you know, I thought you condemned last time I was here. He goes, well, if you can't beat him, join him. He liked the peyote meetings because he got it, you know,
Yeah,
finally.
finally he probably got the medicine, right?
Right. Well, he realized these people are serious. They're praying. We don't have to condemn them, but they're crazy. But for me personally, what it was I went, whoa, this is powerful. You know, how do you survive? I didn't even think of it as how do you survive? I'm trying to survive, and
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this and attracted to it. And then it comes my turn to come. I wanted to go to northern Canada. I was invited by this old chief small boy, a Cree. My grandmother was part Cree, so I was intrigued by the Cree language and all this. So on the way up there, these Cheyenne people are saying, please take this pipe with you. They put me through this ritual. I don't even like talking about it because it was so powerful
It's so
and
sacred.
scary.
Ooh, ooh.
Right, and powerful. And I was, what's the word? Not, it wasn't that I was unworthy. I was scared and it was too much. It was like, whoa. But they knew,
Maybe you're not ready.
yeah, that's what I felt. But they
You
were,
did not feel ready.
no,
They
I
knew
was
you
like,
were,
whoa.
but they
Because
knew
when you're in
you.
that environment,
They
you
sensed
know,
something
they
in
were
you.
like, oh, take it to, so I did. I took the pipe up to Chief Small Boy and then out to Maxim Augier and all these guys out on Tall Creek. But it was like, whoa, how did I get into this? You know, I mean, it's a couple of years. By then, it was a couple of years after my mother died. Now, by then, I got my nursing degree, and I wanted to work with natives. These people share amazing stuff. They're in the now. They're hungry. They survived genocide. I'm like, I can learn from these people, and they're so good-hearted. They're so open. They give you everything. And this is the Blackfeet, the Cheyenne, the Sioux, the Assiniboine, the Flatheads. I didn't associate with a lot of white people because it was the same old, you know, my car, my payments, my this, my that. You get so bored with that redundant capitalist monologue of me, my. With the natives, they'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
They'll tell you some rough stories, but then they'll tell you the good stories where, you know, things happen and the angels come. You know, these people survived. I still to this day, you know,
Yeah.
I lived with the Eskimos up there in Cayenne and all that. I'm still blown away by how they get by, you know.
Yeah.
And Eskimos, that's a whole nother world, you know. But to be part of that, um,
And the humor that they use, like I interviewed one of my friends, he's Native American. He's
yeah,
just like the funniest people
oh
he
yeah,
knows. And isn't that true though? Like the funniest people I know in my life have been through the worst
right.
stuff. And it is that post-traumatic gift or something. I always think that humor is a language of higher power of some sort. Like it's this almost like it's a frequency thing. Like
It's everything. Drugs, it releases all this,
yeah,
but all that
the
uptight part
medicine.
of your brain where you're calculating and analyzing and dramatizing, it gives it a break.
Yeah.
And you go, I'm here now, and I'm
It does
laughing.
get you in the present
Oh,
moment.
I
Yeah.
laughed till I cried with them Puerto Ricans on the Upper East Side. I'm like, I can't catch my breath. You know, you guys are too fast, and then you don't have time to respond.
Somebody's fast for you?
Oh no,
That's crazy. I
oh
can't even
no,
imagine.
no, they kill me. But it's therapy, and you know, we're finally. I think. Well, you would what you call it? No, trauma,
Traumedy?
comedy. But
Yeah.
you know, just humor and medicine in the hospitals. I got written up a lot for screwing around too much.
Yes, I did
Oh,
too. I did
oh,
too.
oh!
Yeah.
I was always in trouble. You can't
But
just.
you were being of service.
I was ahead of time, and
Yeah.
the patients were grateful.
Yes, they
And
were.
some of the nurses that I work with to this day, Jenny the other night said, when you used to give report, oh, I said, Jenny, give me a break. I wanted to, you know, I listen,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and the best nurses I really appreciate would say, you didn't miss a thing. You know,
That's
you're
right.
watching these patients,
That's right.
but you're bringing in
You're
all this other
I
stuff.
can imagine you're
Yeah.
highly observant.
Yeah, but I'm
Because
like,
you're
I'm listening. I'm
but
listening.
you're, because if you're the trauma
And
survivor
you
part,
care.
yeah,
If you
yeah, yeah.
really care,
You care and you're taking it all in and you're sorting and you know intuitively what to do and then you're doing it. I don't I
that
love
saved me. I wouldn't have made it if I'd have thought about myself all that time and oh yeah, oh this and that, oh the nuns, oh the bottom. Oh man, I'd be like, I'm tired of this shit. Quit whining. And no, seriously, how many
Yeah.
times can you loop that tape?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh, I
wait a
can
minute.
do it a lot.
The reason, yeah, no, but I'm like going, that's why you're
No,
buying a
you're
nun outfit because you kind of miss her.
you put that on
I
and
didn't know
take
nuns didn't wear panties, but my buddy told me, don't close your eyes, man. Don't. I'm like,
you put that
oh,
on and take advantage of yourself.
yeah, right. When they're beating you, just that's the bright side.
I'm gonna look at the time because I feel like there's a sense in me that feels like, and I don't know how to button this up, like how do we button it up? But there is a
No,
part of
there
me.
ain't no button.
No, there's no button up. This is
But
just
now,
this
see you
now.
later.
This is part one. God, I look like my mother with this hair.
Oh, it's better.
God,
I look like my grand.
I'm having.
No,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say
oh,
my.
thank God I don't look like my mother. Woman.
But what I just kind of wanted to carry a through line, which is, I mean, okay, what I loved what you said. I want to go back to one thing you were saying earlier about seeing a vision, like stop talking about it,
Mm.
see the vision and follow the vision. Like you did it. You went out there and started hitchhiking, and that saved you because you were like, okay, I don't have to just escape with a drug or alcohol. I can actually immerse in the real world.
Yeah.
And then the medicine of creativity, the medicine of sharing stories, like it's so important. If people want to find, and you have a YouTube channel that is like off the charts, because what is your YouTube
It's,
channel?
it's just Mike McCann, Yukon Rapids, Rapids, Rapids. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the
Oh,
kids put it together from you Discovery, and it's taken off. It's fun.
this was taken off from when you were doing Yukon.
Part of the Yukon man, but then Tim came to Ireland with me, and then I just pitch. I do an orphan. I work with an orphanage in Peru, and that video will kill you. But those kids, oh, those kids.
Even get to talk about
No,
that.
you'll say. But if watch the YouTube because
Okay, go to your YouTube because
yeah,
then you'll hear a lot of your
and
different.
they're short. Luckily, I bore myself to death. That's why I try to keep it short. And sometimes I get carried away. But no, it's fun, and it's fun sharing that because if people go, whoa, and here's the thing, and I talk about that vision and that dream. Have your dream, and it can be as crazy as you want it. And you don't have to tell anybody. That's your dream.
Yeah.
So tell them afterwards. Tell them. I was thinking, like I said to my sister a couple of years ago, I'm going as far away as I can go where they don't speak English and they smile. I don't know where it is, but I end up down as Terra del Fuego or whatever it's called. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. Then I go to an Irish pub. Next thing I'm on a boat to Antarctica. I don't want to go to Antarctica. The best bunch of kids on this boat. And the next thing I'm like, holy cow, this is great. They wanted me to come from the hostel. You're coming with us. I'm like, no, I ain't. I'm not going. They got you a ticket. Anyway, so it gets crazier. So my vision was to go to South America, be around people that smile, and I don't know what they're talking about because I don't understand any. But it went to this, and then it went to the Fu River, then it went to Peru with the nuns, and it just doesn't stop. I just don't know if I can keep up with it because, I just
Apparently you are.
so far so good. Yeah, if I'm not having, yeah, I'm so
So you're
lucky.
still flying. You're still, yeah, yeah.
I'd be boxing, but he told me no boxing, no hockey. Da 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 da.
You were just in the hospital. Your heart stopped, and then
For a second, it got going again. But then they put the paddles to me with the AC/DC, and they burned the hair off my chest. And like,
now you're
as soon as they gave me
bisexual.
that Jackson relaxer, I call it the Propofol. I like that, man. I'm like, damn right, get a snooze. Anyway, so you want to zip this up for now?
I think we will.
Okay.
Okay. Mike McCann, find his book. Yeah, give
Give
me
me
the
the Hudson or the
Hudson.
Yukon, and then the second one is Return to the River. And they're very short stories. If you can't sleep, they're really good. They'll put you right to sleep. And the pages tear out if you're at the outhouse and you're shooting on paper. Anyway, I was planning ahead, but no, it's some fun stuff about fun characters.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was
Here we are.
incredible.
We probably burned up this machine now.